Good morning. I'm gonna move the 550 out of the way so when the guy shows up, you can park right beside the Pete. Start in and see if we can't figure out what's going on with the jakes on this truck. Hopefully something simple, inexpensive to fix. All right, I gotta get this out of the way. I did it again. I left the code reader plugged in. Battery's dead. Oh well. At least I got my pickup. Actually, I got the Pete sitting right here beside it. I could just connect to the batteries on the Pete, jump start this. I think that's what I'll do. All right, truck's moved. I got it running. I actually used my 250. Just where the 250 was running, it would put out 14 volts. That's sitting there not running. I do not want to start it in case I don't know if any of you, a lot of you might not know. I'll try to explain stuff. A lot of you might know, some of you might not know. But if you do a valve adjustment, these trucks are designed to, you need to get the valves on these motors adjusted once, at least probably, it's a good idea to do it every year. But on these motors, the valve adjustments are to be done when the motor is cold. So I did not want to start it, run, nothing like that. I'm assuming, I don't know when what we call the overhead was run, which is the valve adjustments. I don't know when it was last done on this motor. So I am just trying to take all precautions. Don't want to screw nothing up. So I didn't run the motor. So yeah, granted this has got 3 batteries, but three batteries saying at resting is 12.5 volts. 14 volts helps it charge a little bit quicker. So we got it running. I'm gonna let that run for a little while, charge the batteries up again, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, so now I'm just waiting on him. He said he'd be here by 9. He said he'd be here around 9, and it's 9. Am I gonna hold his feet to the fire? No. But I'm just walking around, double checking the truck. I want to make sure everything's good. I gotta call the sign company today, let them know we are gonna go with that teal blue, as they call it. Teal blue, teal green. It does look a little bit more on the blue side, because my wedding, the wife wanted teal green for the wedding colors. And it's not quite green, so I have to say it is kind of like a teal blue. But we're gonna go with that. That's the design in the teal blue color. So I'm gonna have this guy kind of look the motor over. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Do know one thing I have to do. I'm gonna try Saturday. I've got to drain the hydraulic tank. I got to drain the hydraulic tank and reseal some threads. It's leaking on the bottom, so I got to pull the plumbing off. Basically where I run the plumbing for the dump body. It's leaking a little bit. It's not leaking bad. It's dripping. Get a slow drip. I want that fixed. So I'm gonna have to tear the whole plumbing off and then reseal it. But I'm just waiting on him to show up now. All right. Just so happened that also that day I went over to my buddy's there. What? Monday? It was Monday. Have him look at the truck here. He had one of these. Let's get it on the light over the driver's side, because the issue is with this not being on there, water is getting inside the cab, running down the inside of this post down here, and the fuse panel is under here. Let's keep the water out of the fuse panel. That's one thing you do not want in there. So I should stop water going in. Thanks for it. Well, I've been standing up here, I've been looking. That light, those lights look like they got a bunch of junk inside of them. Let's pull those off and clean them, put them back on. Might do all of them. I just don't want to stand on top of the block right yet. On top of the motor. Oh, no. I gotta find the... Can't seem to find the sticker on... sticker for the block saying if it... To double check, make sure it is an NXS model motor. But they're all working, so I might hold off for now. Just I want to, the jakes are underneath those black covers, so I gotta get down here somehow without falling and look it over for the stamp sticker. The other thing is, I looked this motor over. I don't think there's a sticker on it because if they do, they're like on the head here somewhere. This is an aftermarket head. So I don't think I'm gonna find a sticker on this. I might have to get a hold of Cat, see if they can't send me a set of stickers. So I got horsepower rating, valve lash, valve lash, a few other things, but I'm just still waiting on them to show up. I'd like to get this thing running in tip-top shape, because the better the motor runs, the better my fuel economy will be. And if it's not running right, it's not gonna burn fuel right. All right, update. You see him on pickup and I am hauling. The guy that's working on the truck right now on the jakes, he is 99% sure it is the wiring harnesses. There's two inside the head on that motor. One for the jakes and one for what they call the IVA, which is part of the emissions. The plastic connectors are brittle. They are just falling apart. Second, one of the wiring harnesses was actually rubbing on one of the rockers. So, and there's been a bunch of repairs, inside that head. So, to alleviate that issue, I'm on my way down to Cat to buy both wire. They have them in stock. They're pulling them for me right now as we speak. Both wiring harnesses. So I gotta run to the credit union, grab some cash, and we're headed down to Scarborough to Cat to grab the wiring harnesses. While I do that, the gentleman is pulling the jakes off and gotta do the valve adjustment. He's gonna run the overhead on that motor. Also, thinks he has a nipple for it to connect the high pressure turbo to the low pressure turbo. The way he explained it to me is that it's not allowing the high pressure turbo to build enough boost. I don't know much about the Cats, about these compound turbo setups, but I'll trust him. He knows Cats a lot better than I do. So I am headed down to get the wiring harness. While I do that, he's gonna run the overhead. Now, we just left Cat. I got both wiring harnesses and both gaskets. So I gotta swing by Napa, grab some small black wire ties. The guy that's working on the truck says, he goes, we're gonna do it right. And that's, told him, I said, that's what I want. That's why I hired him to do it. So hopefully that is the issue. And we'll find out, because after we get the wire, he's doing the valves right now. As soon as I get back and we get the truck back together, the new wire and harness installed, we'll go for a ride. So we'll find out when we get there. So he said that one's busted off. That one's busted off. That's bent pretty hard.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
You were selling the truck?
Oh, here's the one that feels like it was wore through the insulation right here.
Yep. And these connectors were full of oil.
And the connectors are full of oil?
Yeah.
So
that's why I think maybe your Jake was hanging up. That's why I didn't really go too far on that.
yeah, no,
It
that's
could be
fine.
A million things. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just put this in there. I'm not going to waste time on the overhead because I honestly think you're good enough.
Yeah, I say it's only got 12,000 miles on it since it was
If I gotta
rebuilt.
run the overhead, I'll run the overhead.
No, if you don't think it's, if you don't think it needs to be done, I wouldn't bother with it. They said you got other jobs to get to today too.
Yes. There could be screaming to me. Full meal. My easiest, least disgruntled customer.
Going back together slowly, but it is going back together. Connectors are full of oil as well. Of course, this one's been on the ground, but you can see how. Back together. Going for a ride now. After we get that on. That was the issue, the wiring harnesses. It's all good to go. So just waiting on the lettering, and I gotta run to Augusta tomorrow and get my fuel sticker and take care of my UCR. So Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one.